So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes. The police were searching for James Thomas.
Hello, hello, hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang, a show where we talk about cult cinema, kind of lesser known gems for the most part. Sometimes we talk about really popular fucking things like Dune. By the way, you can swear, Corey. It's totally full language.
What if my employer finds me? I'll see.
That's a good question. You can do what you want to do. Yeah, you're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It's 3:58 p.m. Movie Gang. And I'm here with my buddy Corey. Hello, Corey.
Hello.
We're going to talk about some martial arts movies. And talk about last night me and Corey over Discord watched the 36 Chambers of Shaolin, or 36th Chamber, not 36 Chambers. And I had not seen it before. Corey had been did you remember when you had last seen it?
I must have been in like high school. It was a while ago.
Been a while ago. Yeah, it was my first time watching it. I really enjoyed it. Definitely, the more I thought about it, the more I enjoy. I feel like with a lot of movies, I don't know if you noticed, I don't do my Letterboxd reviews right away. I need to like wait a day or two to like really let it sink in. Hello?
That's funny because I do my Letterboxd reviews purely off of like vibes as soon as I walk out.
Purely off the instant vibes, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's how Courtney does their Letterboxd reviews as well. But I don't know. My opinion changes so much after like sitting with it, because like a movie, either like if I don't understand it, I feel like I just hate it walking out. But then the more I think about it, I'm like, oh no, it actually made sense. Yeah. Or I'm blinded by like, if it's a movie I'm really looking forward to, and like I have that feeling of like I don't want to be disappointed, so I'm going to be a little blinded by it. Then like I'll rate it higher than I actually would after thinking about it for a minute. Yeah, no, so usually I need to wait a day, and I definitely enjoyed this one. And then today by myself I watched Return to the 36th Chamber, which is kind of a sequel, kind of a parody.
It's vaguely yeah, it does feel like a parody, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I saw a review I read put it pretty good, where they said it's very Evil Dead 2 to Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
As far as like it's like a higher budget movie that's like more goofy and is like basically the same story but different. Yeah, and I definitely see that comparison. But yeah, Corey, basically I knew that I wanted to talk to you about martial arts movies specifically, since like I feel like in like we went to college together, and I feel like a lot of the times you'd be like the martial arts or like Asian cinema guy I think of. Like I feel like you talked the most about that. And
I feel like I haven't kept up that title though. I've fallen off my martial arts game. You watch a lot more than I do, I feel like, at this point.
Well, yeah, I feel like now I've been on a big bender of them. Yeah. But I mean, you still have the passion for it, and I just wanted to ask, what do you like about martial arts films? Like, tell me a little bit about your history with the genre and kind of like your thoughts on it.
I think it's just like an appreciation of action cinema at the end of the day, you know? Like, my love for the genre I knew some people in high school that were big fans of The Raid and all that, so that was kind of my like first entryway into that sort of cinema.
Love those movies. Actually,
what was that I found? What was that?
I was going to say, I love those movies, and actually kind of same. I think The Raid was my gateway as well.
Yeah, I think that's the case for a lot of people. I mean, it's so good. And years later, I found The Night Comes for Us, and I think that really cemented it for like making it my personality in college. And from there, yeah, just found like Jackie Chan, and I feel like you've watched a lot of the more of the Shaw Brothers movies than I have, because all the ones I've seen are just like random stuff I found on maybe Netflix. But
it's like a lot of newer stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, I'm kind of going the route of like kind of seeing some of the like the origin kind of stuff to now like starting like with really like I finished, like me and Joseph finished the Bruce Lee box set, and I got like a whole like scope of that, and kind of Bruce was really the beginning of this genre really blowing up and becoming a thing. And like the Shaw Brothers are kind of like the immediate response to that, where like the whole concept was like they make movies super 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 cheap, and like they distribute them to other countries, like in America in particular, for super cheap. And like the reason why they were able to get as successful as they were is because like you could see them at like super cheap theaters. Like they had like late night kind of movie theaters like in the 80s and like 70s, 80s, 90s, where you could see like 3 martial arts movies for like $5 or whatever. So that's kind of how they kind of crept into like the underground, like American psyche kind of deal. And yeah, I don't know, I guess I think the only reason I'm starting, or at least I've gotten into this era, is because like I'm kind of just watching like, oh, I liked this performer, so I'm going to see what other movies they've been in. And now I'm on this route like, oh, I'm going to check out everything from this director, who I looked up, Lau Kar-leung, who he directed these 2 movies that we're talking about today, Drunken Master 2, or as I like, as it was released in America, Legend of the Drunken Master, and a couple other movies that I've heard of but have not seen. And I'm gonna start going into his filmography more, because his movies so far have probably been my favorite of like the martial arts movies I've seen personally. But yeah, I mean, I guess I wanted to ask, would you say that like Jackie Chan movies are your favorites, or like do you have like a favorite martial arts era or like particular filmmaker?
Yeah, I would just say Jackie Chan movies are my go-to, especially anything he's directing where he just.
Yeah, where he
I
has
know
control.
You said that the Shaw Brothers, the whole thing is it being cheap, but from what I understand, Jackie Chan's productions were extremely expensive just because he was like, no, I'm going to catch this pencil after I kick it, and you're all going to stay here until I do that.
Yeah, I'm going to do this 8 million times until I catch this pencil.
Yeah,
With all
and
these
like,
phones on me.
I don't know how great that is to work on as like a person on the set, but as a viewer, you got to respect it to a certain extent.
Oh yeah, no, like I feel like a lot of, you could sum up a lot of the enjoyment of martial arts movies as just respect the hustle.
Yeah.
One second, I'm gonna put on some tunes for myself. Too fucking loud. Yeah, no. So with these particular movies, do you remember? You said you hadn't seen the first one since high school. You've seen the second one a lot more. Like,
yeah, I've seen it a couple of times.
Okay.
Second one's the one that I usually tell people to watch, which I am regretting that we didn't watch that last night, because the second one's the good one.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Also, you don't need to see the first one to get the second one at all.
What do you mean? You need to know that what's his face started the 36th Chamber. I'll see.
Well, what's his face is not the same dude in the second one.
Yeah, but the same dude is in the movie. He's just playing the new guy.
Yeah. Well, I think that was more. I was looking at some. I was reading the Wikipedias and some stuff, and the Sante or Santa, like the main guy, the main monk man, is loosely based off of a real dude. Of the same name. And my assumption, kind of as I was watching, like, okay, maybe in the second one it's like this is the real dude, and the first one was kind of the fictional story of like, I don't know, that's kind of how I interpret it. But I feel like you don't need to see the second one. Let's talk about the first one a little bit first. 36th Chamber releases The Master Killer. If somebody asked you what this movie was about, if someone's like, hey, I want to get into these super groovy kung fu movies, and someone told me to watch this one, what's this one about? Like, what would you tell them?
Somebody said it last night where they just described it as, this is basically Rocky.
Kung Fu Rocky.
Kung Fu Rocky, and I think that's the best way to do it, because this is just a bunch of training garbage which is so fun to watch. The training stuff is by far like what stands out to me in my mind of this movie.
It is also most of the movie.
Yeah. And then you have some weird setup at the beginning of like his village getting massacred or whatever, and at the end of the movie it's just, well, we got to go back to that. So he comes back and he headbutts everyone. Yeah,
he fights everyone with his bald heads. I find it really funny that bald head combat is one of the chambers. It's really good.
Just get concussed.
Exactly. But yeah, no, basically, pretty much what you said. It starts with basically our main guy is a student at just like some ethics school. It's like a what's it called? It's like it's not a kung fu school like I found it. It's like a ethics and law kind of school thing. And there's these government officials that are coming in and trying to stop all these rebels from overthrowing the government. And it turns out that like the dude's teacher and a bunch of his fellow students are rebels, and they just kind of come in and clean house. So then basically like that set up to our main guy decides that he wants to learn kung fu to come back and help overthrow the government and teach people kung fu to overthrow their government. And he gets hella fucked up, and it's crazy how he gets hella fucked up and he's still crawling to the temple.
Yeah, he's by the time he gets to the temple, he's essentially a corpse. Which, once again, I always forget.
He just has like a giant gash in his leg. And they put on some like the magic leaves. I think it's like tea leaves or something that they put on his wounds. Which, watching the second one, I saw they use the exact same thing, like the green leaves. And so I'm like, oh, that must be the ancient Neosporin, right there.
Shaolin leg juice.
Yeah. Do you think that they needed this opening at all, or could it have been like a text scroll, or I feel like you need a motivation for our main man.
Yeah, and back to the Evil Dead 2 comparison, the second one does it so much better. Where the opening is just so much quicker. Where you're like you just get the bullet points of like, we're in this town. There's a mean guy with angry eyebrows that wants to kill everyone. So we're gonna go learn kung fu to kill him instead.
Yeah.
The opening and the ending do not need to be as long as they are, in my opinion.
The second one also, it's like a smaller scale conflict. Like in this one, it's like overthrow the government. In the second one, it's like our boss isn't paying us enough.
Yeah.
And it's more relatable. Another reason why the second one's better. But yeah, no. So we see over the course of 7 years him go through not all the chambers, but a bunch of the chambers.
Funny you say 7 years, because I had no idea what the timeline was. When you get there and he's like sweeping the floor and he's like, "You've been here for a year." It's like, oh, okay.
What? Yeah, no. The time gems are not made super clear. I only know it's 7 years because I remember like when he shows back up, it's like, "You've been gone for 7 years."
I missed that.
Can you help? Yeah, there's like a throwaway line.
It could have been 2. It could have been 20. Honestly.
Yeah. The first chamber is he has to run across some wood, so he doesn't starve. And right from the get-go, you just see like how he doesn't sleep even to get through all these challenges. Like while all the other monks are sleeping, he's just like awake trying to practice and get ahead.
He's practicing in his dreams and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a great scene when he's just like kicking at the air to practice jumping across. Did you have a favorite chamber challenge? Like, was there a favorite part of the training sequence for you?
It's tough because rewatching it, you get to every chamber and I'm like, oh, I love this one. I think the headbutt chamber, the concussion chamber has to be my favorite, where they just have the sacks swinging around, and I guess you have to walk through it, but everyone's opting to just headbutt it as hard as possible, and they get to the other side and they like just can't stand up because they just are getting cement to the head.
I think headbutting is required because like I think they have to hit a certain amount in order to get, because the whole idea is like this will help you take a punch. Like this will help you as long as you get used to it.
Build up a thick membrane in your skull.
Yeah, just develop a fucking calloused brain and you'll be fine. Yeah, no. Fucking, I'm trying to think which one was. The headbutt one was really good. I don't know. I was honestly, I like just like a lot of the weaponry stuff at the end of it. Just because I like seeing our main guy like try different weapons and like adapt and like figure out how to get past the dude.
Him piecing together the triple stick as he like chops the bamboo and it hits him in the head and he's like, hold on.
The triple stick is so good. I feel like that might have been referenced in Bruce Lee's Game of Death, because in what do you know the whole thing about Game of Death in Bruce Lee?
Is that the one with the
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Yeah. I was trying to make sure I said the right basketball player.
Yeah, is that the one with LeBron James? No. So that's the one with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and it's the one where Bruce Lee didn't finish filming it. Which I finally watched the version that was released a few months ago, and basically, so like they only filmed about 20 minutes of footage with Bruce Lee.
Oh boy!
And like the whole thing was gonna be like the final sequence was gonna be him ascending this tower, and like on each level of this tower there is like a different boss who like has used like a different style of kung fu, and there's supposed to be 5 levels, but they literally only filmed like 3 of the fights. And that's pretty much all that they filmed from the movie. So they created a whole bullshit plot around just what they had of like and it's funny because they use a combination of behind the scenes footage from other movies, because the idea is like Bruce Lee's character is a movie star. So like they use the behind the scenes footage from other movies dubbed over to seem like it was filmed for this, and then when they do have to have fighting, it's just like a stand-in for Bruce Lee who like kind of looks like him.
Oh no!
And he's constantly it's not good.
I've always been afraid to watch that one, and that's exactly why.
Yeah, it's a big letdown. On the Bruce Lee the Criterion box set, and I'm sure you can find it somewhere, or you can probably even find it online. There is like a 30-minute version of the movie called Game of Death Redux, which is like their attempt to put together as close as they can, like what they have, like a short film version of like the real Game of Death, and it's a little bit better. It's edited a lot better. Like it basically, it just kind of like there's a Star Wars crawl that tells you like this bullshit has happened and now he's going to the tower, and then it just shows you the fights, which that's the most complete version of it. But the reason I mention is because during one of the fights, Bruce Lee whips out if I remember correctly, he whips out the triple stick.
No,
and
the triple stick
nunchuck thing, which I think might be a reference to this movie. But yeah, that's probably my favorite of those ones. But yeah, so basically so at this point there's also only 35 chambers. I didn't know that he created the 36th chamber.
LC, would you believe me if I said I didn't remember that either?
Yeah, I was kind of like, they keep saying there's only 35. I was like, is it going to be a hidden chamber?
A secret 36th chamber.
Yeah. So then the final chamber is he wants to teach like people in the world Shaolin Kung Fu so that they can rise up against their oppressors. It's very, very anti-cop of him. It's great. But the Shaolin, like I didn't know, you had said while we were watching the movie that they were they tried to banish him.
Yeah.
And you had said that they're kind of like doing like a wink, like, hey, don't leave, but don't teach anyone. Wink.
Yeah. They're like, he's like, I want to teach people, and they're like, what? No. There's like one shot where he nods at him. Maybe I'm just completely wrong, but the way I understood it was that like they're like, for even saying that, you need to leave and don't teach anyone. Don't do exactly what you said you were gonna do. And he just leaves. It's just like, okay, see ya.
Okay, I won't. Yeah, no, I didn't pick up on that, but I always have a hard time, especially like when we were watching the dub. It's always hard to tell. But yeah, then there's he returns to his hometown. Did you hear that scream?
Oh no!
Sorry, Courtney and our friend Rome are watching reality TV in the next room. There.
Oh, what are they watching? I'm not gonna derail us. It's okay.
One of the Netflix ones.
Gonna hard turn this into a Love Is Blind podcast.
Yeah, just completely change the thing. Anyway, yeah, but what was I talking about? So yeah, he comes home. He meets up with his boys. He offers to teach his boys kung fu. Yeah, they fight like the governor guy. The end fight is pretty cool. Honestly, I feel like the end fight isn't as good as the like choosing your weapon fight. Personally,
yeah,
like
for sure,
it's not nearly as memorable. But yeah, then the movie ends, and I don't know. I feel like it was a pretty good time. I really like this director. I think that it's just always cool to watch people improve. You know, I feel like that's like the basis for a lot of martial arts films, in general, and like Asian action cinema is like, or just like a lot. I feel like a lot of story, not like even outside of this, like my only other examples really being like the samurai movies I'm trying to watch is just it seems like self-improvement and bettering yourself is a big common theme I keep seeing. Like, would you say, like, I know you watch like anime and stuff too, like, would you say that's kind of like a common thing across like culturally?
I think it depends. I feel like I mostly watch like shonen stuff, so you see self improvement in terms of like power scaling in that, where it's like, oh, we have 200 episodes of this guy, like, and he lost to this other guy. So I always compare it to WWE, where it's like we need to level this guy up so we can put him over the villain and stuff like that. So you do see it there. I do think it is a trope of a lot of kung fu movies of like, I need to learn kung fu and learn this hidden technique, and that's like how they kind of have character improvement. It's interesting you bring up samurai movies, because samurai movies I always saw as like the samurai is like the idyllic Japanese like hero, and so it's not necessarily them improving, but them trying to just impress honor on like a wicked land and stuff like that. And the Kurosawa ones are always fun because it's a lot of like samurais are really, if you get down to it, just tools of rich people. So
yeah, they're just cops. They're Jedis. They're a lot of the same kind of themes go through all that. Yeah, no, and I see. I guess samurais are kind of more about like trying to make the world better in the way that they think is better. Like I said, I don't know. I still need to watch more. I plan on watching Yojimbo and Sanjuro soon. They're both on HBO Max.
Yeah, when Yojimbo was first recommended to me, it was recommended to me as like a kung fu movie kind of. It is not. It's a western. I mean, it is quite literally one of the Sergio Leone ones, Fistful of Dollars.
Is like pretty much a direct adaptation.
Not an adaptation. It was because Yojimbo comes first, I think, and Kurosawa kind of famously said Fistful of Dollars is a good movie, but it's also his movie. And there's like reports of like Sergio Leone literally going into theater and like writing down notes of what happened in Yojimbo and just making Fistful of Dollars. The ties there are super funny, but
gotcha. That might be a good kind of double feature thing to do in the future. Like you could compare that with that, but also do like a Seven Samurai Magnificent Seven comparison.
You could do Hidden Fortress and Star Wars 2. People always draw that comparison.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. I feel like that one might not be as fun because I saw the original Magnificent Seven and it ain't all that great. Yeah, like I said, I haven't finished Seven Samurai, but from what I have seen of Seven Samurai, it is much better than the original Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I don't think that's a hot take.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as this first movie, Gordon Liu, I think is great. He's been in. I didn't know he's like the master in Kill Bill as well, right?
Yeah, I was looking through last night and I saw he was in Kill Bill, and I couldn't place who he was in that.
Yeah, he's the Johnny Mopame, or he might not be. I know, or he's the master in The Man with the Iron Fists.
Gotcha.
Have you seen that movie?
I don't think I have. Is that one that like Wu-Tang did the soundtrack or something?
Yeah, I think RZA directed it. Yeah, RZA directed it.
Yeah. Which, speaking of Wu-Tang,
he directed
probably a crime that we've talked about 36 Chamber this long without mentioning.
Oh
the
yeah,
Wu-Tang of it all.
Yeah, I watched what's it called? I watched the RZA break down his favorite martial arts movies, or like it's on YouTube somewhere, and he talks about 36 Chambers and what do you know about the connections there beyond just like sampling and whatnot?
The only connection I really know is like them talking about it, like the name just being borrowed from that. I couldn't even place any of the samples when we were watching it, and I was trying to.
Yeah, this one didn't seem like I had as many as like I know in the video I watched. Like they used a lot of samples from the 5 Deadly Venoms, which I still need to see. And I don't know, like it's just RZA is just like a big martial arts fan. Like he agrees with a lot of the philosophies in these movies. I'm trying to remember. And there was one thing in particular he said from 36 Chambers is he borrowed the name from it, And I know that there was another movie where, what was he saying? He was talking about. My brain is drawing a blank, Corey.
I wish I could help you.
That was all good. He was saying that like, I had a specific point. Now my brain, it's too.
I'm giving you brain power.
I smoked a little weed earlier. I gotta cut this part up. Yeah, I got high for Return, and I think it's still lingering.
Still in your veins.
Yeah, I might just cut that part. But yeah, no. So with 36 Chambers, let's do the prop now. What prop would you want from this first movie?
I mean, there I have a couple. I mean, the obvious answer is the triple stick, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there is one that we both pointed out when we were watching, which is the one guy in the headbutting chamber just has a big stick, and on the end is just a metal hand that he uses to slap people.
Yeah.
He could use his hand, but he has a stick with a hand, and I just think that's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it is a wonderful weapon. I'm sad that they never use that one in like a fight.
Yeah.
Or I kind of want, or you could have like a mechanical version where it's like you can use the hand to grip shit. You can punch people with it and slap people with it. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the triple stick would be solid for me. Yeah. I guess in the I know what I want in the second one too, but we'll get to the second one. Let's move on to the second one. So yeah, Return of, or is it Return of or Return to? Return to the 36 Chamber. Yeah, Return to the 36 Chamber, directed by Lau Kar-leung again. Gordon Liu returns as not the same character, but that same character is in this movie, as we mentioned earlier. And how does this? What's this movie about, Corey? How does it start off?
I've watched this so long ago, so you're not going to get a good synopsis from me.
I thought you said you've seen it. I thought you said you've seen it a bajillion times.
I've seen it more for sure, but my recollection is you have the boss that shows up, and he's not paying anyone well enough. Mm-hmm. So one guy once again goes to learn kung fu. Except, if I remember right, he never actually makes it into the 36th chamber. He just kind of like builds a scaffolding around it for a while, and the guy's like, "Okay, you know everything you need to know."
Yeah,
and he sends him home.
Yeah, he's not allowed to. Basically, so the main character in this movie he's a fake monk. He's like an actor, like scam artist type guy. Yeah, basically is what he said. There are some workers at this dye mill that want their boss to pay them more, and he starts threatening them. They use this fake Shaolin guy to threaten them, and then they find out that he doesn't know real kung fu. So like you just said, he goes to learn real kung fu, and he sneaks in, and he tries all these ways to like kind of sneak in and pretend that he's a monk. And it's really funny because he basically tries to do some of the Chamber's challenges, and he just gets wrecked every time. And he keeps getting kicked out, and it's really funny. Some of the same challenges from the first movie, but they're all kind of like, I feel like a lot of the challenges in this movie are just kind of like micro versions of the first challenges.
Yeah, little baby ones.
Yeah, like just like reimaginings of ones. Like I love
diet chambers.
Yeah, diet chambers are just different versions that are a little more like my favorite one is the rock down the well.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, where like they have to carry these big buckets of water from this well down the hill, but his arms are too weak to be able to carry the buckets over these like long sticks that he has to carry them over. So he ties a rope to a rock, and he needs to clean himself. He keeps dropping the rock down to splash water on himself, but it just takes forever, and he just keeps dropping and pulling up this rock until he gets fucking swole. And I feel like a lot of the training that in this movie, or like the way he gets good, is very it's big Samurai Jack energy.
Yeah. As
far as like, do you remember the Jump Good episode?
I'm gonna disappoint you because I've never seen Samurai Jack still.
I feel like we watched this episode. Basically, like Jack runs across this tribe of monkeys that can just jump like 1,000,000 feet in the air, and they teach him how to jump good. So they tie they tie rocks to his back and all of his limbs until he can just like walk and run normally. And then when he takes the rocks off, he can jump good. Very similar energy. Yeah,
I just love the concept of he just like mistakenly learns kung fu pretty much by just like doing everything not quite right and just kind of watching essentially.
Yeah, it's very Karate Kid, where he's doing all this manual labor, and then at the end of the day, it's like, no, the manual labor was the kung fu. And he kind of just lives in the scaffolding. for the most part, like he's not allowed to step foot, and every time he accidentally falls in or steps foot, the guards like kick him out. Yeah. Yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, no, did you have a favorite? I know you said it's been a while since you've seen this one, but do you remember a particular favorite during like the training, kind of when he's at the temple sequence?
I'm gonna not answer your question and answer a different question I'm making up right now.
Go ahead.
Because my favorite part of the movie, the part that always sticks out in my mind, is the last fight, where
ending.
he like Bugs Bunny, like kind of uses all the random things he's learned in like ways that aren't fighting. He ties some dudes together at the end. That's like my stand up and clap moment for this movie.
He ties them all together with the bamboo and like the little bamboo garden. Yeah, it's really good. And yeah, he basically invents his own like working class kung fu, basically. Laborers kung fu.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yeah. Honestly, in a lot of ways, it's actually kind of like a better message, I guess, in that like than the first one, where it's like, I don't know, he had the power within him all along, you know. Also, it's kind of funny because part of lesson 2 is at the beginning, his brother says that his brother tells them that he's like so lazy, he's never done any real work in his life, and then he just does some hard labor, and he's a badass.
It's very pro labor, which I feel like you find a lot. There's a lot of Jackie Chan movies where it's like the bad guy is just some guy that won't pay his workers. Yeah,
that's the subject of a lot. That's the story of The Big Boss, Bruce Lee's first movie as well. So a lot of that too.
The most straightforward title too, where it's like the big boss is just your boss.
Indeed. And then at the end of The Big Boss, Bruce Lee fights the big boss. They're in the middle of a park. Yeah. It's most of the time. Do you know why it is all these end fight scenes they have to like run out to the middle of nowhere? It's like the middle of a desert or the middle of a big ass field.
Dude, it's because hills are cool.
Hills are cool.
It's as simple as that.
They are very aesthetic. I remember one of the Jackie Chan movies in the early box set. I think it's the first Fearless Hyena ends with them fighting on a really nice hilly countryside, and I'm like, oh, that looks so pretty.
Meanwhile, they're like,
meanwhile they're like, yeah. I'd still say that, yeah, watching these has definitely made me want to go back and rewatch Legend of the Drunken Master. Just because I think this director is really good with just using like an overwhelming amount of people. Like I was surprised by both these movies, just the amount of extras that were in a lot of these fight scenes.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one even in the first one. One of the fight scenes at the end that sticks out to me is when he's just fighting like 20 dudes and they're all just like throwing the spears at them, and he's like, no.
Yeah, and he's just like totally dodging all of them. Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of the same moves too, like with the bamboo as in Legend of the Drunken Master, where it's like a lot of this director clearly has a lot of the same mentality about like using the environment, as like Jackie does for sure.
When Jackie Chan, that's one of his staples, right? Is the environmental kung fuing.
Yeah, and it's the best when they use props. You know, it's funny at the so the last 5 minutes of this movie, which I finished an hour ago. Courtney and their friend came back from totally legal activities outside. And they came back in to watch reality TV, but I was like, I just want to finish the movie. So they watched the last 5 minutes of this movie with me, and they were so enthralled.
It is. Without context, that's got to be even better.
Yeah. Because just see this bald man beating everybody up. Yeah, and then so he fights the main. Yeah, so the end fights with all the benches. Great fucking scene. And then he one-on-ones like the main boss man. And almost fucking kills him. I don't know if you remember, like he's like holding him upside down on, like over this big floor of exposed bamboo, of like sharp bamboo.
I do vaguely remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he beats him, and then the movie's kind of over. And I one thing I appreciate about a lot of these martial arts movies is that they know when to fucking end it.
Yeah.
Like, all of them end after the big fight. Although, the one thing I was missing was, like, I want to see the behind-the-scenes reels, like Jackie's movies.
Yeah, I want to watch Jackie Chan almost die on set about 10 times in a row after the movie ends.
The craziest one for me was, at Police Story 2's one is pretty nuts, because it seems like everybody almost died at the end of that.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the actress that plays May, his girlfriend in those movies, like, she got hella fucked up in that second one.
Well, and that's one that, speaking of movies that know when to end, Police Story 2 is the one that ends on a literal, like, freeze frames on an explosion, right?
Yeah, don't even need to see him hit the ground. We're done.
It doesn't matter. I mean, 36 Chamber, the last fight, it, like, freeze frames in the middle of one of his headbutts and just, like, hard cuts to, like, the afterwards, like, you did it, yay!
Come, we did it. Yeah. No, the speaking of police story, we want to ask, do you prefer 2 to 1 with Police Story? No.
One's just the mall scene alone. That could be a short film, and I would give it every award I have the power to give it, which is none, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like Police Story 2 was kind of Jackie's attempt to like make a more mature version, whereas like the first one kind of felt like Jackie Chan's demo reel of like, this is all the crazy shit that I can do, whereas like
watch me dangle off of a bus.
Yeah. Whereas the second one was more focused, but I feel like as a consequence it was a little bit less fun, which I feel like is almost the opposite with these, which, by the way, so now that we've gone through the plot of both of them, what about the second one do you think you like so much more than the first? And then also, why do you stick with the idea that you need to watch the first one first? I really think that each of these are standalone, but
I don't know if I would. Maybe I gave you the wrong impression, but I don't think you do need to watch any of them to understand the other ones, because the third one is completely its own thing, if I remember right. Like, I don't think the third one's connected at all. But I do prefer the second one just because it's just goofier. Because these movies are inherently pretty goofy, and that's kind of the stuff I love about the first one. And the second one just leans totally into it, especially leaning into the, like, you did this random menial task, and now it's kung fu.
Yeah.
And it's just it's really fun payoff.
Yeah, Karate Kid definitely stole that whole idea. The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, this is just Karate Kid. Yeah. I'm trying to think anything else with. How do you rank these three for you? What do you think?
I would say Return of 36 Chambers number 1, 36 Chambers of Shaolin's number 2, and Disciples. I remember nothing about Disciples. I remember when I watched it, I was like, this just isn't, because it goes back to being kind of serious for some reason, and they got a new guy. Oh no, is Gordon Lewis doing it?
He's still in it, but he's not top billing, it seems.
Yeah, he's back to being who he was in the first movie too, which is confusing in so many other ways too. I don't know. Third one I don't care about as much.
Yeah, I'm gonna start breaking into. I was looking earlier at I've been told that like Sammo Hung is a really good one to like start really get like a director to start getting into. He directed a lot of Jackie movies. Like, have you seen Wheels on Meals?
Yeah, that's a fun one. That dub is a little wacky at some certain parts.
Yeah. So I've heard. I remember I saw the. I was telling you about the videos I watch on YouTube, the Corridor Stuntmen React. They have one where they're watching Wheels on Meals, and there's a fight where it's like a big reference to the Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris fight. Like, it's like very much like a similar setup, but just the comedy version of it. And that's one I definitely want to check out. And then I know Sammo has a movie in the early Jackie box set, which I still need to watch.
I the only one I have that box set, and the only one I've watched on it was oh gosh, was it Spiritual Kung Fu? Whichever one has
one with the ghosts, the red haired ghosts.
Nope,
That's not
it
Spiritual.
was not that, because I would have remembered that. We watched the one because we found out that you know the dumpling scene in Kung Fu Panda where they're doing the chopsticks to like try and get the dumpling. It's apparently inspired by a Jackie Chan movie from that box set. I cannot for the life of me remember which one though.
Oh. This is the
You're
ghost,
pulling
by
up
the
a
way.
picture of these ghosts,
Yeah.
and this is the most terrifying. Why do they look like sickly Wendy's?
They look like Thing 1 and Thing 2 from fucking oh god. They look like Thing 1 and Thing 2 from what the hell?
Cat in the Hat. That's honestly offensive to Thing 1 and Thing 2. They look like the old Japanese commercials of Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, they look like old racist commercials. For sure. Oh wait, speaking of racism, sorry. By the way, sorry I got distracted. I got a text saying that like your hotel stay is confirmed, and I was like, I didn't book any fucking hotel.
Oh no, you're getting pig gutted? What do they call it?
I don't know the term, but it's not me. It says, "Hello, Ethan Hers." I'm not Ethan Hers. So it's not me.
Yeah, that's what they do. You got to be careful.
But yeah, no, they look like Wait, what were you saying they look like, Corey?
They look like Ronald McDonald.
They do, yeah, like those old commercials. Speaking of racism, I remember I was gonna say. And remember in Return of the 36 Chambers, the dude with the teeth. Those teeth were taking me out of it. They were just the longest, most fucking offensive.
But it's not like it's an American production that put those teeth in, you know?
No, it's not, but it's. I feel like it's playing into that caricature. Just like this shit is fucking ridiculous.
It is absurd. Yeah,
Yeah,
they just give some poor guy, the most insane like mouthpiece ever.
Yeah, if people at home want to see a Google Return to the 36 Chambers teeth, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, definitely.
You get a lot of old dirty bastard that result too, which you know
is also very funny. Yeah, I definitely need to check out more like Wu-Tang like content referencing these movies for sure. Or, I don't know. RZA's got a lot of like his favorite martial arts movies, like YouTube interviews online, and I definitely got to just go from those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess final thing with this one, what's your prop that you're taking from Return?
From Return? That's a good question. I guess can I take the entire scaffolds? I just love the scaffolds.
Just the whole scaffold.
Or the rock, the well rock.
Oh yeah, the well rock with the rope on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fucking good one. God, that's a great one. Yeah. I think I want a few of those I want 2 benches. That way I can practice my bench kung fu.
Bench kung fu is the best.
Yeah, that's gonna be about the way. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, the next movie, I actually just ordered an Arrow, the Arrow Blu-ray of have you heard of the 8 Diagram Pole Fighter?
No, I have not.
You haven't? Yeah, it's another one that's it's directed by the same guy. It actually also stars Gordon Liu.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can find it. It's another one that's like really 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. It's another one that's pretty famous.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, stars Gordon Liu. He's in there. And it's about these like brothers defending their farm or whatever. I've heard very good things about it. It's by the same director. I'm gonna check it out. But yeah. I guess Corey, to end this segment on so you had mentioned some earlier, but and could you recommend to me and maybe to the folks at home out there some like more modern martial arts films, like 2000s and beyond? I'd say
I think my favorite I don't know if you just call it an action film, but like it is martial artists in it, I guess. But I love The Night Comes for Us so much. It kind of verges into like a grindhouse film because it is absurdly bloody and gruesome, and like one of those movies that you watch and like you just cringe at some of the hits. Like there's a shot of a guy just kicking like a metal beam, and the sound effect is so perfect where you're just like, oh god, his shin, is it okay? That's probably my favorite. That's Iko Uwai, so the main guy in the raid, and then
I
what's
still
his
want to
name?
watch the one that he did before the raid, Murintau. I still want to watch that one.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one either.
It's
What's
it's PG-13 apparently, so not as fun. But what?
I'm trying to remember the name of it's Ito something.
Ito.
The guy that was in the raid, and he's the main cop, I think.
Yeah, he's the tall cop in the raid one.
He's one of those action stars that I've started like.
Joe
Yeah.
Taslim.
Oh, sorry. His name is Ito in the movie. His name is Joe Taslim. He's so great in anything I ever find him in, because he shows up a lot in like just random American action movies. He's in Fast and Furious 6. My favorite part of that movie.
He's the evil Han in Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah, and he's Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. He's in Warrior, which I need to watch the new season of that movie, because that movie is, or that that show is super fun. It's
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, it's based on a pilot or something that Bruce Lee wrote ages ago that got denied because it was very much like an all-Asian cast.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also in the 70s, so they were like, no, you can't do that. They picked it up like years and years later in like 2019 or so. Oh. And it's a pretty good like kung fu show, you know?
I didn't know that was the origins of it. I'm definitely going to check it out. It's on Max. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. But yeah, Joe Taslim, he was the best part of Mortal Kombat for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sub-Zero was terrifying in that one.
That entire movie was not good, but they do the like, I forget which Mortal Kombat character it is that has one of the bladed hats that you throw into the ground and pulls a guy across it.
Kung Lao.
Yeah. Kung Lao has a little hat fatality, and I'm like, okay, we did it. That's all you really need from Mortal Kombat. Kung
Lao was good. Cool. I didn't know. Oh shit! They're working on Mortal Kombat 2, and Carl Urban is going to play Johnny Cage.
That's perfect.
That could be good. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like. I always thought someone like, I don't know, John Cena or something would be good. Someone a little bit more goofy, I guess.
Carl Urban can be goofy, I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
And I don't know what the actual like plot of the Mortal Kombat games are, especially since they've rebooted them like 3 or 4 times at this point. But Johnny Cage is like one of the main characters at this point, so you do need someone who, I don't know, has a little bit more of the leading man in him. Mm-hmm. Not to say John Cena doesn't, but
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. But as far as the story, Mortal Kombat, the story is just it's Enter the Dragon with magic.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think that should about wrap it up, Corey. Thank you for talking about these groovy kung fu movies with me, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about more in the future. I feel like we could have fun breaking into the more modern. It'd be fun to revisit the Raid movies and talk about those. That'd be cool.
If you ever do anything on the Mission Impossible movies and you don't have me on, I'm gonna come to where you are and I'm gonna cry outside your window.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say beat me up.
No, like I can't. You could take me in a fight. Let's not kid ourselves.
Like Tom Cruise. I don't know. I would fight with honor, Corey. Anyway, yeah. So that has been Midnight Movie Gang at 4:46 p.m. I just realized I didn't prepare a cup of tea. I'm really bad. Courtney always remembers the tea when we do episodes. What's your favorite kind of tea, Corey? I'm
not a tea drinker.
But if you if someone was holding a kung fu fist to your head, and they said you have to pick a tea to drink, what would you drink?
I get a nice Arnold Palmer. Get some lemonade in there, you know.
Rock and roll.
And whatever your cheapest tea is, because I feel like doing that to a nice tea is kind of rude. But
gotcha. I've been drinking a lot of green teas lately. Like I have this ginger. It's like a ginger peach green tea. It's caffeinated. It's really fucking good. And the ginger is good for your digestion.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that'll be it, folks. That's the tea recommendations. If anybody wants to recommend some more martial arts movies or just cult movies in general, you can message on the Instagram or TikTok. And yeah, that'll be it. Have a nice night, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
So, here we go. It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Miss Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Where's everybody that I'm here to go? Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How long did you leave? How could I got in here? Please take us to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think? Special agent, special agent.